The Islanders take down the Bruins 4-1 in Game 4 to tie the series 2-2. I'm Evan Marinofsky here with Connor Ryan for Bruins Rinkside. And Game 4 was not the game that I think a lot of Bruins fans would have hoped for. It was also not the game that most expected out of the Bruins, even with a depleted decor with Brandon Carlo out. We'll start here because there's a lot, obviously, to cover in this game. We'll start with a lack of 5-on-5 scoring. Obviously, Bruins outchanced in this one, only one goal. Or actually, not even, actually, zero. The one goal was on the power play. So 0 5-on-5 goals in this one. What needs to change for this to change?
Well, I think one thing you look at, obviously, David Pastrnak missing that one timer to that open net was kind of if you want to sum up this game in one kind of picture, it'd be that of him missing that shot. So I think Bruce Cassidy more or less said when your best goal scorer is missing a chance like that, you're probably in for a tough day. But I think it's one of those things where just about everything that could have gone wrong went wrong when it comes to the expected production of your team, right? I mean, you didn't get a whole bunch of a jump from your top line. I think the Pajot line has done a very good job at limiting Bergeron on that top line in this series. And I think probably the most, maybe not the most concerning thing, but the thing that sticks me out of this series is you're getting nothing out of your bottom six right now. I mean, absolutely nothing. And it helps that the Bruins are in a better spot than in years past, where at least you have the Krejci line that's at least playing better, but you can't roll out Bergeron and Krejci, expect them to do everything in a series like this against a team like the Islanders that are equipped to slow down a top six personnel just based on their structure and their matchups and what have you. You need at least some supplementary scoring from that third line or energy shifts from the fourth line, and you didn't get it at all in this game. I mean, you look at especially down that stretch where I think the Bruins didn't get a single shot on goal in the final 6:30 of the game. I think it was. The final minutes ticking down, and you have the Coyle line out there, the Crowley line out there, and absolutely nothing. Like, spent half the time in their own zone, couldn't get out, didn't generate much of anything in the offensive zone. So I think if we're looking at potential adjustments or what Bruce Cassidy might change next game, it's probably going to have to be that bottom six, right? Because I mean, you need different personnel in there, just a Spock at this point, because you had nothing from them in this game.
And the third line right now is only Charlie Coyle. He's the
Yeah.
only one you notice. Nick Ritchie's doing absolutely nothing.
Yeah.
Jake DeBrusk is doing nothing. And then that fourth line has just been getting outplayed. Every time you look at the Bruins pinned in their own zone, it's the Curtis Lazar line pinned in their own zone. And they've offered, again, nothing in the offensive zone. And you mentioned it, the being deployed out there with under 3 minutes to go. What is that? I mean, like, why is that the line that goes out there at that point in the game? So, yeah, I mean, I think Cassidy's coaching is definitely coming into question in this one. I think there's going to have to be some changes, as you mentioned, to the bottom six, because it is terribly heinous through the first 3 games of this series. Because again, there's not first 4 games, there's nothing coming out of them. There's absolutely nothing in that. Also, Bruins were outchanced. Another thing that people obviously have been talking about is the bad calls. And Cassidy mentioned this after the game. Feels like all playoffs they have not been getting the small calls. They haven't got the breaks. He's right. They haven't. There were a lot of missed calls going that could have went against the Islanders. There were a lot of missed calls. Obviously, there's a high stick to it was Lauzon. McAvoy got hit from behind. Cassie mentioned Wagner getting hit in the head. There was a lot there. I'm curious, is this going to be a Berube incident where Cassidy kind of saying this kind of gets Berube Palooza going?
The patented Berube bamboozle, as I called it, from 2 years ago. I mean, at this point, it's unfortunate that you have to get to it, but either that or the Bruins might have to just take some acting classes and sell some of these high sticks and stuff more, because Islanders are taking a page out of that book. Like, same as the Lightning and a few of the other teams, that if they're getting a high stick or anything close to their head, they're making sure everyone in the arena knows it, right? So not ideally the best way to go about a game, but if it's going to get the ref to raise his arm and get you on the power play, I think that's what you're going to have to do. So I don't think it's a coincidence that Cassidy kind of aired out his frustration about the officiating this one, and we'll see how that kind of changes. But yeah, I mean, I still think the more pressing issue is that, lack of a bunch of no-shows across the lineup in this one. But you look at that power play and discrepancy, yeah, it was definitely noticeable in a game like this. And But again, you look at the power play, they had a prime chance to deliver a knockout punch to this team if they scored right after that Krejci goal, they challenge it, and you got pretty much nothing on that power play as well. So definitely a lot of things to take umbrage with a game like this, but we'll see how they handle some of that contact going into Game 5, because I could see a lot more acting chops from a few guys if they're getting a stick up high.
Also, another thing, speaking of bad, the NBC broadcast. Whew, that was a rough showing for Pierre.
And it's funny how isn't it funny, like, as someone, I'm very much on the wavelength of, analytics. It's, you have to have a blend of, reading what is on the ice and also incorporating analytics. I think that's what every NHL team does. You can't just stare at, the numbers and have that be the be all end all. It's funny how Pierre always does this and incorporates it and spews out his shit to a national audience. And then it's always the guys he mentioned, though, are the guys that analytically are always great. Like, it's never like some like bootleg ass, like fourth line, like guy they just throw out there. It's always like a Zizekas, who's on like one of the most noted fourth lines in the league. It's Blake Coleman, who, like, I don't know about you, but I think everyone for years has been talking about how great of a bottom six guy he is. It's funny, it's always these guys that are always established guys that he always puts them on a pedestal for, that maybe, I don't know, he got a tip of how good they are, like, analytically. It's funny how it's like this, that he keeps on spewing this shit out. But yeah, it's embarrassing. It's that's my little rant for the day is
there it is.
It's how you target that over anything else. But whatever. We only got a few more weeks of NBC broadcasts, so what happened?
Hey, Charlie McAvoy getting hit from behind. That's just playing for keeps, man.
Yeah,
That's
playing for keeps.
That's just playing for keeps.
Yeah, shit's embarrassing.
Just playing for keeps. So rough night for the NBC crew. Micheletti even was rough. I mean, it's just in the reaction from everyone is the same as what you just said. It's only a few weeks left of this. Like, then it's done. So we'll see what ends up happening with that. Still have to listen to it, but you can listen to it on mute. You can watch the game and listen to the radio broadcast, or, do what you got to do. So there is that as well. Matt Barzal was everywhere tonight. And again, we kind of expected this coming in. You're out, Brandon Carlo's out. Brandon Carlo was the guy assigned to Barzal for most of the first 3 games, shut him down very well. I don't think Barzal had a goal 5-on-5 when Carlo was on the ice with him, shut him down a lot. Tonight, obviously, a much different story. You don't have to face Brandon Carlo. How do you fix this?
Well, why don't you hope that the injury bug fixes itself by Game 5? And I mean, who knows what? If you told me in the immediate aftermath of Game 3 if Carlo was going to be back anytime soon, I would have said no. So the fact that he's even listed as day-to-day going into Game 5 is a miracle in and of itself. Kevin Miller is skating back at Warrior already, so that could be a good sign that he could be back. So, I mean, having those 2 guys back would be immense in terms of negating some of that top 6. And the scary thing with the Islanders is, Barzal is starting to turn the corner, and he's been fantastic. He was great in this game, as you said, but they're also, I feel like Beauvillier has had 3 or 4 like grade A chances that he's turned down. Like, Bailey hasn't really. His goal was on that weird deflection on the power play. So there's quite a few guys on that team that have yet to break out, which if they start, getting hot down the stretch here, it's going to be tough. So if you're able to get a guy like Miller or Carlo back by Game 5, that'd be immense, because even if it's just slightly slowing down a guy like Barzal, that makes a major difference for a team like the Islanders that, again, love to play these grind out 2-1, 1-1 games. So, but if you have a cheat code like Barzal, who's getting confident and playing well, he can make a goal, kind of make a grade A look out of nothing. So the better you can do at limiting him, the better chance you have of keeping it a tight game.
I still think, though, those guys like Josh Bailey and some of the ones you mentioned haven't been able to break out because Rask has been so good.
Yes.
I mean, Rask has been incredible.
Yes.
He's getting better every game. The Islanders are getting better every game. The problem is you're not getting better every game. And that is an issue. And that is why I think with this series tied 2-2, it's hard to look at this best of 3 coming up and say, whoa, the Bruins are in a good spot for this, because really they're not. You're missing your top shutdown defenseman, aside from Charlie McAvoy. You're missing Kevin Miller as well. You said, you don't know when they're going to come back. And the bottom 6 isn't doing anything. The scoring seems to have dried up. I know it's just 2 games. But still, you have Pastrnak missing open nets. There's a lot of weird little things here that are pointing towards the Islanders. in this situation. Now, again, if you remember in 2019, it was Columbus. I think it was 2-2 after 4 games, and Columbus was in the driver's seat for a lot of those first 4 games. The Bruins rattled off 2 straight wins. So the tide could completely shift in game 5 and go right back in the Bruins' favor. And I would expect it to. But again, it's hard to sit here and say, well, I'm confident that the Bruins are going to win this series in 6 or even win this series. Because tonight, I mean, again, the Islanders beat you in every category tonight. What coaching, offense, defense, they beat you. They beat you. Goaltending, I mean, obviously the Islanders scored more goals than won, but Rask played out of his mind. I don't know if I completely say that the Islanders beat you in net completely, but no, I just, the Islanders look good right now, and they're trapping you. You're having a tough time, sustaining offensive zone pressure. So we will see what ends up happening with the Bruins and the Islanders. But there is one definite, and that is to keep it here for all of your Bruins postseason coverage. That is Connor Ryan. I'm Evan Marinofsky. Keep it here. Keep it here. Subscribe to Bruins Ringside. Go subscribe to Boston Sports Journal for all of your Bruins playoff content.